My name's Christopher King. I'm the transportation director for Russellville School District in the River Valley, almost smack dab in the middle of Arkansas.
I am Christina Herdman. I'm the payroll specialist, along with many other job duties in this office.
Absolutely. She's the heartbeat of what keeps us rolling around here. Just to give you a little background on who we are, the size of district we are, we, we're not like this giant person. We're just ordinary people trying to do the best with what we have. And we're a school district that's about 5,400 students. We do transport a high percentage of our student population. We're right around 3,200 students that we transport on a daily basis to and from school. We cover about 99 square miles, and we run about 1,700 miles worth of route on a daily basis. And so we're not gigantic, but we're not a tiny school district, where we just have a few routes. We actually run 43 routes every single day. And trying to manage all that without the utilization of technology was absolutely drowning us. We were spending hours and days on tasks that we should just take minutes, and it was killing us. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk in a couple of different stages here. We're going to talk a little bit about where we came from and kind of the outline of what we had in place. And then we're going to talk about the purpose and the reason why we chose Zonar and Bytecurve as partners in what we do on a daily basis. And then we're going to give you some highlights and some benefits about what they gave us. And then we're going to explain give you the meat and the potatoes of why we have been able to absolutely pay for itself and put money back in our pocket on the savings that we've been able to accrue based on the efficiency that Bytecurve has given us. So just to kind of give you a background a little bit, and Christina and I are just going to bounce back and forth as we get through this. But when I took over transportation and came into this position 4 years ago, we had a few buses with camera systems, and our routing software was way out of date. And so I put together a plan that was supposed to be a multi-phase tier. The first tier of the plan was to get our routing software updated because and our security cameras, because safety was paramount. And then once we had the ability to route and do the things that we needed to do to create the efficiency in our routes, we knew we wanted to continue those step process. And so as we went through the first stage, we were looking for companies that would utilize and work together and collaborate. And that's one of the big reasons why we went with Zonar for our hardware. And then we chose Bytecurve for the transition from our analog. I don't know. It was almost like a stone tablet and chisel. It took us so long to do payroll, but to the digital version that we are today. And so that was a big selling point for us, was the customizability that came with what Bytecurve gave us, as well as them willing to work and collaborate with us to create what we needed, not for us to adapt to a program that they were trying to sell us, but they built their program around what our department needed and how we needed to do things and the processes that we had. And they would utilize that data of the existing systems that we already were putting in place. And so we went with Bytecurve and Zonar. Our payroll was insane. It would take more than 2 weeks to process the payroll. We have about 105 people on payroll. We had 7 different color-coded timesheets that we were utilizing, and different pay rates for different job positions, trips, routes, shuttles, monitors, drivers, mechanics, our routing specialist that's here in the office, our secretary that we had at that time, and just sorting through that and trying to accomplish that process was just absolutely insane. We would get timesheets in, you can't read them. They wrote down that they worked on days that were holidays. They wrote down on days by accident. Not that anybody was just trying to cheat us, but it was just a constant, there was constantly mistakes. And of course, every time there was a mistake and we needed to make a correction, we had to call that person back in, sign our corrections, and make sure that they agreed to that, because that timesheet was the official document. And then once it was all said and done, it would take me 3 to 4 hours to sign a 4 or 5 inch stack of timesheets, just to sign off and verify them for us to send them over to payroll. So we were spending an exorbitant amount of time working on timesheets. And so we just, it was killing us. And so we needed a different option. And the GPS systems that we got with Zonar, and putting the tablets in the school buses to work with our routing software for turn-by-turn directions, electronic inspections, and then, of course, we just finished implementing our parent app that works with the GPS and the routing software as well, and then rolling over from that analog system of payroll and dispatch using Google Sheets and whatever. We were spray painting stuff on the wall, it seemed like, just to be able to communicate with what's going on and how it was happening. And so we're gonna roll into just kind of giving you a little bit about how we implemented the systems, and then kind of the benefits that we saw with the implementation process. First of all, like I said, year one, we did cameras and did our routing software. Year two, we installed the hardware in the buses and then partnered with Bytecurve. And as we were learning the hardware, GPS, working the kinks and the bugs and the learning curve of that, we were working with Bytecurve in the background to develop our payroll system within our payroll system within their platform. And that's exactly what it was. Their customer service was amazing. Their onboarding process with us was just phenomenal. We were able to dial things down to specifically what we wanted, minimums, canceled pay for trips. They geared it to exactly what we were looking for, and then they made it work. But we're going to talk a little bit. So once we started on that, we started into the working on, and of course we're focusing on Bytecurve here. So we were pulling in data into Bytecurve from our new routing software and from our GPS and tablets that we had in our that we had installed in the buses from Zonar. And as we started this process, I'm going to let Christina kind of explain that process a little more. She is our payroll specialist, and she is, we work together as a team and everything, but she spearheads all of that and is the expert when it comes to Bytecurve in our office. So
I don't know if I would say expert per se, but when I first came in, they're still doing analog or paper timesheets, kind of slowly rolling into digital, but not quite figured out how to get those stubborn drivers to want to use that technology. And that's kind of how I come in. Once we fully implemented, it was kind of a slow phase in, I would say. The first 3 months, I started in January. The first 3 months I did what I call guinea pig drivers. I chose a select few that weren't afraid of technology and had them set up on the app, which is a simple, all they can see is today's task that is very user friendly. They have their task assigned, they clock in and they clock out, and they're done. They don't have to sign in every day. It's very efficient. When I did the slow roll in, it was, 4 or 5 drivers, 1 month. And then second month, I would do 10 to 20 and kind of go in there. We started with routes, and then we worked all the way up to our midday or shuttles is what we call them. Everything is customizable, right down to your budget account codes. And we have probably about 20 different codes that they had to customize for us. We didn't do that. Bytecurve did that. I never had to touch that. I just had to send them a spreadsheet with the codes. They did it all. So you don't have to be tech savvy to use this technology, because they've got a guy behind the computer ready for your email. I know, because I've been there, and I drive them nuts. saying, hey, can we do this? Hey, I've changed my mind. I want to change the guarantee on this because this isn't working. We actually changed how we pay our midday drivers because of Bytecurve. It just made it much easier, and our drivers love it. And I'm not going to lie to you, when we first did this, we have a lot of older generation drivers who are downright terrified of technology.
Flip phones.
Yes, they are terrified of it. If you just even mention technology, they start sweating bullets. Christina, I don't want to do this. I'm afraid of this. Can you teach me? Absolutely, I can teach you. And we did. We trained every single one of our drivers how to use that app. We trained them how to sign into it, how to clock in, how to clock out. And within, I would say, probably 3 to 4 weeks, I still have a few stubborn ones. I have two. I have two out of my 80 drivers, consistent drivers, that still will not do it, but they just give me a call, say, hey, I forgot, can you do it? And it's automatic. It's just a button. Payroll, it says hours saved, but it's weeks saved. I did payroll just yesterday and it took me 30 minutes. Okay. Now if I get a parent call at 6:30 in the morning and they say, hey, you didn't come on my stop, I no longer have to go to my GPS website and back and forth. I can go to locate bus. It will show me that address, that stop location, the scheduled time, and the time that it actually stopped at that specific address. I don't have to go back and forth. I can go to one dispatch screen, locate my bus, and it will tell me exactly where it is. If my bus is late, it flags red on my departure screen saying that my bus is late, hasn't departed yet. I save about $10,000 to $15,000 a month on average. When we first implemented this, it was you don't think that 2 minutes is going to save you that much money, but I guarantee it was 2 to 5 minutes each driver, each AM route, each route. And that added up. Obviously, I would check it every month against, from analog to digital. How much did we save January 2024 to January 2025? And it's literally tens of thousands of dollars. It pays for itself, I would say, within the first year.
Well, and we, to tag in on that,
Absolutely.
we ran both systems side by side. Because not that we didn't trust Bytecurve, we were excited about it, but we were like, oh my gosh, if it crashes, what are we going to do? Because payroll's gone.
Yes.
And so we actually ran both systems. We ran our paper side by side by our digital. And we, for the last couple of months of implementation in that process to get where it was at, and running both of those side by side, we were able just to automatically see the benefits, not only in the cost savings in trimming those few minutes here and there to get us to that $12,000 to $15,000 mark that we're talking about. It was an amazing process to see, and how much time and effort it saved us in that. And then those guys with the flip phones, like we talked about, that was another aspect of why we liked Bytecurve, is they had more than one option to clock in and out.
Absolutely.
They work with Zonar, and those drivers that didn't have technology in their hand on their own personal device was able to utilize that tablet that was in the bus.
Clock in on that tablet, yes.
To clock themselves in and out.
I do have some, they will use that tablet, but most of them I've trained, because I only have a few that have a flip phone. Most of them do have a smartphone, and they use that smartphone. It is their, transportation Bible is what I like to call it. I just had one of my most stubborn drivers. She did not want to clock in or clock out using any kind of technology. She hated it. She was afraid of it. She just told me actually last week, she let it slip that, this implementation of using digital time, she said, I cannot believe how much time I don't have to spend trying to track my own time now, because as soon as you verify it, I'm done with it. I just look at it, make sure it's correct, and I never have to look at it again. And I made a joke, I was like, man, I should have put that on record, because I don't know how many times we went back and forth, and I'm telling you, she used some very colorful language. I will tell you, I work with some of the most stubborn people on the planet, and I don't have one complaint today. Not one from any of my drivers. It is absolutely amazing and very user-friendly for any generation.
And so we're sitting here talking to you after completing our first full year of implementation. Like I said, the spring of 24, we were in the process of rolling digital. And then the last 2 months of the 23-24 school year, we went solely digital as a test pilot. So we were prepared for the 24-25 school year. So the 24-25 school year that we just completed was a full implementation. And so we went back and compared what our payroll payout was on those things to confirm, because this $15,000 number seems like a pie in the sky, especially for a district that's not as large as we're not that large when it comes to school districts, to be honest with you. Our big school districts in the state of Arkansas are 10, 12,000 students. And we know that there are districts out there that just blow those away. So we're really the top of the middle is what we are when it comes to size. And so it is just, we went back just a few days ago getting prepared for this, just to want to verify, because we wanted to be honest and truthful with you, not only with our experience, but the benefits that we've received from this. And we verified on those small months that were, only 3 weeks. You're talking about Christmas, December and November, or wherever your spring break costs. It was $10,000-$12,000. And then it was 15 and some a little more than that on the months that we ran full 4 weeks, or we had a 5-week month. And we were able to verify that data. So not only in the cost savings where it pays for itself, but just some of the things that we've been able to eliminate, not having to time saved in the office processing all that, time saved having to verify all of that. Though that's not figured into that cost. That's just straight payroll number.
Yeah.
How many radio calls we eliminated by being able to utilize the GPS and see whether somebody's clocked in or not clocked in, or telephone calls that we've had to make, or text messages, or Remind app, or whatever our communication process was. Just time trying that communication back and forth, watching that dashboard, being able to look at it and have a one-stop shop for all the data we needed to know to be able to operate, to run our routes and get our kids to schools safely. It was all there. And it just eliminated all that backlash, all that extra work that we were doing, because Bytecurve was set up to do exactly what we asked it to do, customized to us, and provided us with those opportunities to be able to reduce all the stress, to improve the morale of our drivers. They're super happy that they can verify time within the past 5 weeks of
and
time
everything.
on the mobile
I want
app.
to touch more based on, we're touching based on payroll, because that's, the favorite, that's the most exciting thing for me as a payroll specialist. But Bytecurve does so, I was just in there today running reports for how many times I changed the dispatch screen for an absence, how late my driver was for their departure from their scheduled time. There's so many things when you have a sub, and I have today's task for my regular route driver. Oh, he just called in and now he can't run his PM route. All I have to do is change that dispatch screen to my new sub, and it's instant. It sends him that task to his phone so he can clock in immediately. It takes seconds. When I verify it, I don't have to wait days. I don't have to wait 24 hours for the rollover. It's instant. They can see it as soon as I do it. And what's even better about it is if I mess up, which God knows I do constantly, everything in there can be changed. Everything can be edited in that verification. If they see a verification, they're like, Christina, this is wrong. It's not supposed to be PM. It's supposed to be AM. I go in there and I change it, re-verify it, and I'm done. It's so simple. I don't have to resend a timesheet, have them initial it. It's if they can see it, they've verified it, I'm good to go. I just want to make sure I touch base on that. We're touching base on payroll, really, but there are so many different things you can do with Bytecurve that we don't even touch, because the amount of time that it's saved us just on payroll, it's like, okay, now I have time to keep track of my absences. Now I have time to send invoices. It's the amount of things that this technology does. is absolutely ridiculous. And if you are report geeks like we are, I can run reports for days because of the amount of information that these softwares are. They're just constantly communicating with one another, right? So I can run reports all day, and it's amazing. And I can run them as PDFs, I can run them as Excels, CSVs. Just, it's limitless. It really is.
Well, in the data, a couple of dirty words in transportation is cycle reporting. And so we're able to much easier to pull data to do our cycle reporting, utilizing Bytecurve and the information that's all collaborated into that one source. And so it's been a benefit as well for that. But that's kind of our story. It has changed our lives, changed the way we operate, changed the way. And there were things that in our implementation process that we were like, wow, we can do it that way. And it changed how we did something based on what we learned that the software could do. We were like,
amazing.
whoa, I like that. That works.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. And so not only did they adapt it to us, but they taught us some things that we could do easier. And through that whole process, we're talking about saving days worth of time every month in tasks and workload within the office, not counting just the monetary savings that we had in payroll. So it has been an amazing process.
Payroll went from 1,000 manual tasks to 5 buttons, as calculating overtime, guarantees,
blended
rates.
We didn't even mention that.
So. It literally turned a 15-day task into an hour, and that's an hour. That's a hard hour right there. Yesterday it was 30 minutes, so it really just depends on the month. But I have heard horror stories about the payroll specialist who did it before me on paper. I have not cried any tears with Bytecurve, and I hear she lost a lot of tears on paper timesheets. So I wouldn't go to paper timesheet. You couldn't pay me. I'd quit tomorrow if they asked me to go back to paper. Absolutely not. I don't know how we ever did it without Bytecurve, to be honest with you. I don't know how they did it.
So we appreciate your time and listening to our story. We just hope that the experience that we've gone through and the trials and tribulations hopefully will help some of y'all. It's been an amazing journey, and it has absolutely changed the way that we do things.
Absolutely. Don't run to that implementation. You want Bytecurve. They're amazing people to have on your side.